This tutorial will help you to complete the questions on homework number 4. So the first box on homework number 4 asks you to solve the following equations using inverse operations. So to solve an equation means to isolate the variable or get the letter by itself. Whatever operation you see, you're going to do the inverse, and you're going to perform that operation, if it's addition or subtraction, once on each side. These are additive inverses, which make 0, and 15 plus 6 makes 21. Do the same thing with question 2. Find the constant that's being added to the variable, and perform the opposite operation to both sides. Cancel the additive inverses, and there's your final answer. Now for number 3, this 4 is not a constant, it's a coefficient, which means it is multiplying the variable x. So the inverse here would be to divide both sides. Multiplicative inverses make 1, and we can leave that 1 invisible. And 15 divided by 4 is 3.75. You can use your calculator if you need to. Alright, the next 3 look a little bit more challenging, but again, this 1/3 is timesing the x. Now technically, we're dividing by the fraction 1/3, but we don't divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal. So we multiply both sides by the flip of that fraction. And if you don't know how to multiply fractions, simply pick up your calculator and type 4 ABC5 times 3 ABC1. So your calculator is going to give you 12 with a little fraction bar over 5, or it may change it to a mixed number for you, in which case it would look like this. Sometimes on your fraction it has like a little u, and then it would have a 2 like with a 5 like that. So 2 2/5 is what that means, but it's okay to leave it as an improper fraction. You do not have to convert it to this mixed number. Alright, let's take a look at number 5. -6 to clear the constant, then rewrite what's left, and then divide by 3 to clear the coefficient, and rewrite what's left. Number 6, clear the constant, and then divide by 1.2 to clear the coefficient. So I don't know what 24 divided by 1.2 is, so I'm going to use my calculator here. -24 divided by 1.2, oops, and make it -20. All set. Okay, let's look at the second box on the homework. I should have graphed the coordinates on the grid below. It asks you to graph and label it with the correct letter. So A is 0 on the x, -5 on the y, so that's A. B is +4 on the x and +1 on the y, so that's B. C is -2 on the x, +6, that's 1 more than 5 on the y. 0, 5 is D. 3, 0 right there on the number line axis is E. And 2.5 means 2 and halfway, and then -1 and a half is down 1 and halfway. I'm going to have a point right in the middle of a box. And that's how you graph the coordinates and label them. The third box asks you to find the area of the given shape. So I really only need to see two things on your paper. One is the correct formula with the substituted numbers, and then a final answer. I expect all the math to be done by your calculator. So this first one here is a trapezoid, so I'm going to use the trapezoid formula. So I know I need a 1/2. I know I need parentheses and two base numbers. Oops, my formula is missing the H. I've got to fix that. And then I also need the height. So now I'm going to substitute. My first base is 3.5. My second base is 5.1. And my height is 4.6. And now I pick up my calculator and let my calculator do all the math. So I have a math print calculator, which means that when I type my fraction button, it's up and down instead of sideways like yours. So 1/2, and now I'm going to type exactly what I see. Parentheses 3.5 plus 5.1 parentheses, close, now parentheses open, 4.6. So I'm going to type exactly how I see it, and the calculator knows that this means times. So 19.78, so the area is 19.78 feet squared. Alright, number 14, this shape is a parallelogram, so it's base times height. So again, I just need to fill in my substitution and let the calculator do the math. So my base is 9.6, my height is 3.9, and now I use my calculator. Parentheses, 9.6, close parentheses, and parentheses 3.9. Now if you know you're multiplying base times height, you can leave those parentheses off, and you could simply multiply on your calculator like this using the times sign. So the area here is 37.44, and the units are feet squared again. Okay, let's take a look at number 3, which is a rectangle, which is also the same as a parallelogram, base times height. So the area is 10.4 is the base, and 6.5 is the height. So I'm going to use my times sign, 10.4 times 6.5, and to get my area, that's 67.6 feet squared. And now for my last one, which is a triangle, and area equals half the base times the height. My base is 4, my height is 15/2, which is a scary fraction, but I don't have to worry because I'm going to use my calculator. I'm going to use my fraction button, which is in this menu. Yours is the ABC button. And once I'm out of the fraction, I'm going to times it by 4, so parentheses 4, and then parentheses 15 ABC 2, right? So 15 over 2. The answer is 15. And that's because half of 4 is 2, and 2 times 15 is 30, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. And this one happens to be inches squared. Box all of our answers here, so they're easy to find. Okay, last section. So for this one, it asks you to construct and label the data table. So in the table, we have an X and a Y, and on the graph, we have an X-axis and a Y-axis. So this one will be number of weeks, so I'm labeling it, number of weeks, and this one will be savings. Now the most important part when graphing is choosing a scale. So I see I've got the numbers 1 through 6 over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that seems appropriate. So I'm going to go by ones here. And now over here I go from 50 to 300, so I'm definitely not going to go by ones. It seems pretty consistent, like there's no 25s or 75s, so I'm going to go with a scale of 50. So 50, 100, 150, 200. Now, I have to create a scale here, not what I see from the chart. See, I can't just write my numbers like this because that's not consistent. Each box has to be 50. This box is 100, so that's inconsistent. You see that? They have to be the same size. So notice that I'm labeling 50, 100, even though I don't need to graph a 100. 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, and I can keep going. All right, now I'm ready to graph my data points. 150, 3, 150, 4, 200, and 6, 300. So I know that as the weeks increase, my savings will increase. But I'm only going to put an arrow on one side because it wouldn't make sense down here. I can't owe myself money from working. All right, that's it. Good luck with the numbers on your homework.